Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast. Welcome to episode 9 of the BL and Friends podcast. Today's guest is Paul Chadbourne from Mansfeild 103.2. So here it is.
TV. Okay.
Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast. It's Ben Lister here. How are you doing today? Welcome along to episode 9 of the Ben Lister podcast radio show. No, sorry, the BL and Friends podcast. Right, let's crack on. As you know, each week I have a guest to talk about their career or their hobby or their jobs. So let's crack on with this week's guest. It's broadcaster from all different radio stations. It's the one, the only, Paul Chadwick. Hello, Paul. Welcome along.
If only my name was Chadwick. It's Chadbourne.
Chadbourne. Sorry.
It's all right. I always wanted to be a Chadwick, to be fair, but sadly my father was Chadbourne by name. So what can I do?
I apologise for that error.
No problem, mate. No problem. So shall I explain a little bit? Because I'm not really a broadcaster. I'm a radio man through and through. And in fact, I do currently do a show for a couple of hours on a Sunday on a certain radio station. But my career in radio has been one of sales, management, and more recently, ownership of radio stations. So, as I say, I do a little bit of broadcasting, but not very much really. So, I'm probably the least broadcasting guest you've ever had, I would have thought.
I've got Paul Rusling, who was in charge of Radio Caroline later on.
All right. Well, I don't feel so bad then.
Anyway, shall we get on? Are you ready? 5 questions about your broadcast career.
Yes.
That's okay with you?
Yeah. Shall I crack on?
That's good. You ready to rumble in the jungle?
I'm always ready to rumble in the jungle. Where did I start my broadcast career? You're going to ask, aren't you?
Yeah, you've already taken my job.
I know. So where did I start my broadcast career? Well, funny you should ask that, Ben. I started at Radio Hallam, or as it was back then, Hallam FM, in 1994. I had 4 really good years there, rose to the head of the AM brand, which was at the time Magic AM. But then I got an opportunity. I was approached by a gentleman called Wayne Chadwick, who hopefully you'll speak to very soon. And another gentleman, sadly passed away now, Dave Kellner, who at the time was a presenter at Hallam FM. They were about to launch a new radio station in North Derbyshire, Chesterfield and North Derbyshire, called Peak 107. And basically they asked me to join, and I joined as sales director, went on the board of directors in 1998, which was just a fantastic time, launching a brand new radio station in an area that definitely wanted and needed its own local radio. So it was a great sort of 4 years for me. Do you want me to carry on?
Was that at the Peak Business Park?
It was, yeah, just off the main road into Sheffield, the Sheffield Road, or the bypass. You could see it quite. You could see the actual radio station from the main road, so it was in a good position. So we had a little bit of visuality there,
Yeah, Mr. Goldsmith went past there the other day because he lives in that area, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, I left just as Sean and Becky started their breakfast show. I left in 2002 to start my own advertising agency, which I've been running ever since, which is a radio advertising agency, so specializes in radio advertising. And also along all that time, I've been dealing with other radio stations such as Mansfeild 103.2, Radio Newark, and various other stations where I work as a consultant in the commercial side of the business. So, as I say, my career in radio has really been one of the advertising department rather than the broadcast department.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Question 2, who are your inspirations in broadcasting, when you were starting out? Who are your inspirations when you were starting out?
I'm going to, I've mentioned him already. I think you thought I was him. It's Wayne Chadwick. So Wayne was my managing director at Peak 107, and that was the opportunity that really launched my career. Even though I'd been at Hallam for 4 years, it really did launch my career as a manager, as a director, and I enjoyed my years at Peak 107. It was an absolute pleasure working with Wayne. And funnily enough, how strange is this? Only yesterday, I had a long conversation with Wayne, because we both now own various radio stations. So we were just comparing notes about something. He's up in York, and I'm in the sort of South Yorkshire area. So we are always communicating still after. How much would it be? 92. I left there in 2002, so almost 20 years ago I left Peak, and I'm still in touch with my old MD. He was and still is a top bloke. So he would be one of my broadcasting inspirations. I also thought Dave Kilner, who I worked with for about 4 years as well, was a superb broadcaster. Of course, the late Dave Kilner now, but he was a real hero to a lot of people in the Sheffield and South Yorkshire area. So yeah, Wayne and Dave would be my two principal inspirations, really.
Is he any relation to Martin Kellner?
No, he's not at all. I think Martin is a Kellner, K-E-L, and Dave was a Kilner, K-I-L. So different spelling of the surname, similar surname, but different spelling.
And they both worked at Hallam, because Martin Kellner worked at Hallam as well.
Yeah, I know. Martin's actually worked at a radio station in Mansfield as well a little while ago. He's been around a bit as Martin. He's a good broadcaster.
Have you ever been in contact with him?
Yeah, of course. I've met him, yeah.
Lovely bloke. He's now working on the talk radio.
Yeah, no, he's a really good broadcaster.
Which was Talk Sport, because I was talking to Ian Collins yesterday.
Yeah, Ian's is a good broadcaster as well, isn't he? I used to listen to Ian on, he used to be on Talk Sport in the afternoon, and that's all changed now in terms of, now it's Talk Radio, isn't it, rather than Talk
Yes.
Sport.
Well, Talk Sport does still exist, but that's for sport purposes.
Yeah. But he did some presenting on Talk Sport back in the day. That's when I first heard.
Ian Collins and Peak, some of the Peak FM presenters used to be owned by the same people.
Yeah, I know. They're called UTV.
Yeah.
Wireless Group and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. As I say, because I remember some of the presenters telling me that they used to go to parties down in London.
Mm. Yeah. No,
were you there when the UTV took over?
No, I'd left by then. I left to start my own business in 2002, which was before that takeover. Yeah,
because now Wayne Chadwick's down in York looking after Chris Marsden's stuff.
That's right. Yeah, he's now Chris's boss. No longer my boss, but he's as I say, somebody that I do speak to on a regular basis.
Because YO1 used to, and RB1 and TX1 used to be part of one big network.
They did. Not anymore. They've gone their separate ways.
But Chris Marsden still does a few shows on that station.
He does, yeah, at the weekend, yeah.
Yeah, and there used to be a West Yorkshire radio as well.
Yeah, I know. And also one in Kings Lynn.
That Jim Coulson was on as well.
Yeah, good stuff.
And Glenn Pinder.
Yeah. Anyway, question 3. What is my favourite part about the job? Good question.
What is your favourite part? What is your favourite part about the job?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, bear in mind my job is communicating in a different way. I communicate with clients, with advertisers. So my job is to sort of develop good working relationships with a lot of different types of advertisers, and obviously I then put together a campaign. We put together scripts. We get the scripts produced, and that is definitely my favourite part of the job. It's communicating with people and doing a good job for them, doing a job that actually works, is effective, and sometimes not just effective, very, very effective and very, very successful. So we put together campaigns that have sold lots and lots and lots of products and services across many, many years. Bear in mind, I've been in radio since 1994. I'm, sort of 27 years. Is that right? 27.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, 27 years in radio, and still in it, still doing well. In fact, I'm busier now than I've ever been.
Brilliant. And also, I think you said to me off camera, I'm not sure, do you have an association with RB1 and TX1, Stewart's station?
I part own it.
So, yeah, that's good. That's brilliant, yeah.
And TX1 as well, of course.
Yeah. You're hoping to get studios, I've heard.
Yeah, we are currently in discussions for a studio between the two areas in Mexborough, so that we, because we've got two stations, one in Doncaster, one in Rotherham, so we thought the ideal place to have the studio was equidistant between the two cities or towns. One of them's almost a city, to be honest. Doncaster's nearly got city status, and so we've got this opportunity within Mexborough, and we're currently in discussions with the landlord, and we've got a perfect position and a perfect studio setup. It's just a case of fitting it all out and crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and getting things sorted.
Was it you or Stuart who got Chris Holden on board?
Well, it's a strange one, that. I mean, Chris Holden was for many, many years, maybe 20 years, the top salesman at Trax FM. I knew Chris because I dealt with him for most of my advertising business. I run an advertising agency, so I dealt with a lot of clients on the Links FM group, particularly Trax FM, and Chris Holden dealt with all of my clients through me, of course. So I knew him very well. And when Stuart asked me to join on the sales side, another colleague asked Chris to join. So we actually, it was my idea to get Chris involved, but funnily enough, another person had already highlighted that he was the right man for the job because of his contacts within the area. So, great minds think alike sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, I actually know the person who used to own the Links FM group.
Oh, yeah.
The boss of the old Links FM group, Sam
Michael
Haywood.
Betton, yeah?
Sam
Talking
Haywood
Michael Betton. Michael Betton. Yeah,
because it was Sam Haywood as well.
Sam Haywood.
Yeah, the woman who used to be on Viking FM and Casey FM.
Yeah,
because Casey FM used to be part of the Links FM group.
Yeah, I don't think she owned it though, did she? Michael Betton owned it.
No, she was the boss.
She was, yeah, I know Sam very well. She's a very good operator.
She knows a few friends of mine on the radio, you see.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because she used to work at Viking.
Where's she now? Ben, where is she now? Because I've lost touch with her.
I think she's lecturing now.
Yeah. Lecturing, yeah.
At Lincoln University or something. She's lecturing. Yeah. She's lecturing broadcast media, I think.
All right, okay. She'd enjoy that, definitely.
No, it's called.
Hey, Ben,
I think. Yeah.
How has COVID affected my life and line of work? Next
for it.
question.
How has COVID affected your life and line of work? You're taking my interview state style.
I am sorry about this, mate, but I've got to crack on, you see, because I'm a busy man. So, well, as you undoubtedly already know, COVID has had a dramatic effect on a lot of businesses. And there's no doubt that the radio industry as a whole has suffered enormously through the last 18 months or so, because clearly when society goes into lockdown and businesses have to close, are forced to close, their advertising comes to a grinding halt, and lots of radio stations have suffered. In fact, probably all radio stations have suffered greatly throughout this time, and we're just started to come out the other side now, where we're getting something somewhere close to where when we originally went into the lockdown back in was it March of 2020?
March the 23rd.
Yeah, so when we went into lockdown, then I remember it as though it was yesterday, getting phone call after phone call from clients cancelling their advertising because they were closed, and nobody knew what the hell was happening. And quite a lot of those have come back on since, of course, but some haven't made it through. I mean, lots of businesses have failed, and it's not gone particularly well, has it?
No.
So it's definitely affected my life and my line of work because of the effect on businesses having to close and cancel their advertising.
Yeah.
So,
last question on my list.
Go on, then. Do you want me to ask it?
No. Yeah, go on then.
Go on then. What advice would I give to young aspiring broadcasters who are starting out? It's a very good question, Ben. Thank you. I would say, this is an absolute fact, this, Ben. You've got to know this yourself. In life, this is not just in broadcasting, but in life, the most important thing you can have is a positive mental attitude. An attitude, when somebody says he's got a right attitude, he is. Well, that means they've got a bad attitude. What you want is a good attitude, because attitude is absolutely everything. Have you come across a guy called, what's his name? Sean. He was at, what the hell's Sean's surname? He was an absolute robot when it came to selling. And it'll come to me in a minute. In fact, I'll check it out now. But he had this saying. He went on to become a very successful manager and director. And
Tilley.
Say again?
Sean Tilley.
No, it's not Sean Tilley. It's I'm going to find out in a minute. I'm just going on my LinkedIn, because I don't think he's on Facebook. But he is a serious operator. And
what station's he at now?
Sean Gregory is now the Chief Operating Officer at EMG, which is a big agency down London. Sean Gregory, one of the greatest operators in radio selling history, right? His saying was, attitude is everything. At the bottom of every letter, every email he ever sent, that was his sort of sign off. Attitude is everything. And back then, I didn't really get it because I was a relatively young man myself. So, but I get it completely now. Attitude is everything. I was speaking only yesterday at an outside broadcast to a young student in Newark, and he was just starting out in his sort of in his education. And I said, "Young man, let me just give you some advice." He said, "What's that, sir?" And I said, "The most important thing you can have in your life is a good attitude, and an attitude that is positive, and that will take you a long, long way in life. Hard work's fantastic. You need a good work ethic, and you need, you need the tools, the sort of skills to be able to do anything, don't you? Well, whatever that is. But you don't get anywhere without having a good attitude, a good, positive mental attitude." And you know what he said to me? He said, "Thank you. That's the best advice anybody's ever given me." And I says, "And you know what? It always will be." And he thanked me and walked on his merry way. So, I would say whatever you do in life, whether you're broadcasting or selling or whatever you're doing, always strive to have the best attitude you can have in terms of positivity. You know, it'll take you a long way.
Brilliant. My interview's been hijacked today.
Well, you've done a good job, Ben.
Thank you. That's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us, Paul.
Thank you very, very much indeed, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Do join me again for another podcast very soon, but for now, please give it up for Mr. Paul Chadwick.
Chadbourne.
Chadbourne, sorry.
You did it again.
Because I've had so many guests called Chadwick.
I know. Well, I bet you've not had many called Chadbourne, have you?
No, you're the first one.
Oh, there you go then. I think I might change it to Chadwick. It'd make my life a bit easier, I think.
Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. This will be available on my YouTube channel and it will be available on wix.com. But for now, thanks very much for joining me. And that's a
Wrap.
Was my interview with Paul Chadbourne from Mansfield 102.3.2. My next interview will be with Caldwell, so join me then. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and all that stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and that's a wrap.